Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to start sea fishing. Basically, it's just going to be like a beginner's guide to sea fishing, really. So, first thing you're going to want is a rod. So here we go. I'll just show you a basic sort of, just a lightweight rod. It's a Mitchell Premium Surf 302. There you go. Got a little back cap on the end. And then here's the next section. Up there. Up there. There. Up there and to the top there. Now this bit of tape here, you're probably wondering, what's this bit of tape doing on there? This is like reflective tape, what you put on the notefish. And then what you do next is you get the two pieces, and literally what you do is you put this end bit here into here, so you've made your rod. And you literally sort of line the eyes up so they look straight. Now they look pretty dead on all the way up. That. And the next thing you're going to need is a reel. Something like this would do fine to start with. This is just a little, well, this is just a little, just a lightweight sort of reel. You could also use this for carp. This is a Witchwood Riot 55S. This is one what I bought to do bass fishing with, because it's fairly lightweight. But this would do for catching yourself whiting and that sort of thing. Then what you do with this is in here is you've got, like you'll see there, you've got two gaps there and there. And what you want to do is get your reel and your rod and get that and put it in the two gaps like that, if I can do it. Then what you want to do is just, you've got a little knob here, like a little turning thing, and what you do is you turn it so you close it up really tight. Well, not really tight so you can't undo it, but tight enough so it doesn't come off when you're casting out. That's tight enough, it's not moving. Now next thing you want to do is get your line off your reel and thread it underneath the bail arm, or otherwise you'll be able to cast out but you won't be able to reel in, which isn't a lot of good. And you open the bail arm up and you literally take your line and thread it up the rod through the eyes pretty much. Literally put it up. I'll just thread it through. I can't really do that on the camera because I haven't really got enough room around me. But yeah, that's just what you do. You just thread it through the eyes. Pretty simple. And then what you do, make sure afterwards that you close your bail arm again. Like that, or otherwise your line will keep coming off. You don't really want that. So, and the next thing you want to do is get yourself a rig. So literally, what it is you'll see them on other videos from my channel, that you literally have a swivel, you tie that on. That's just £60 leader line. This is just a 1-hook flapper, and I've just got a little it's a few sequins there, little snood there down to a hook, little 1/0 there, and I've just got a clip here. And then if you buy a ready-made rig, you might think, how come I ain't got a weight on the end? It's because you have to buy the weight separately. And there you are, that's just a little watch lid, 3-ounce one, what I just found in the shed. Thought I'd just show you how it goes. And literally what you do is you have your swivel and that, and your weight just goes on that clip at the end, just like that, just like so. And then all you do is you clip it on to the end of the line. On the end of the line you should have a clip, but on mine I haven't got one at the moment, but this will do anyway. On the end of here I haven't got a clip, so I'll just tie it on using a half blood knot. If you want to know how to tie it, if you ever look back on the channel, I think about maybe 2 or 3 videos back, I did a video on it, on how to tie it, so it's good. I'll just tie this on so you can see. Literally, that is how it is. You can see there, got a bit of dust on it, I don't know why. And then there, you just literally just tied on. I ain't got the tag end off, obviously, I'm just doing it for, just to show you. And then, literally all you need to do afterwards is put some bait on. And bait wise, for around here, I would say, or pretty much anywhere, I would say maybe lugworm, ragworm, or if you're a bit sort of, if you've got sort of tight budget, I'd say maybe something like mackerel, squid, yeah, mackerel, squid, herring, all them sort of things will catch you pretty much everything. But if you can, a bit of lugworm and ragworm is always good, and a bit of black lug if you can. If you can't get fresh, get frozen, but fresh is always best, I find. And yeah, you put your bait on, just chuck it out, and then I'd say for places to fish, I'd say maybe start with piers first, because once you start fishing beaches, it's a bit sort of harder, because you have to sometimes give it a bit of welly to get it out to sort of where the fish are. I'd say piers are quite good because you ain't got to cast that far. And maybe sort of this time of year, as we're now sort of coming into August, I'd say sort of maybe some harbours, sort of the places where I fish, there's loads of mullet and a few bass, so yeah, it's pretty good. It's this time of year can be pretty good for bass in harbour, so I'd go with that, with a bit of ragworm and maybe a bit of squid, maybe a bit of mackerel, maybe 25 lug if you feel just like putting one on, but I wouldn't really say it's going to catch you loads. I'd say maybe rag in the summer, lug in the winter really. In the winter you can take mackerel, herring, squid and you'll catch pretty much the same as you will on a lugworm. Because if they're biting it there, they aren't fussy. Neither are things like dogfish, their favourite is squid, but they'll take anything. Because they're scavengers really, they'll go along the seabed and eat anything really. And I would say weight wise, start off with, if it's maybe a bit rough of a day, I'd say maybe 5 to 6 ounces. Never go anything over 7 ounces because you might end up breaking your rod. And what else? The size of hooks, I'd say to start with, stick to maybe 1/0s or 1s. If you're going after bigger species, maybe 2/0, 3/0, maybe 4/0. I wouldn't go too much bigger than that. Because if there's dabs about and soles, you aren't going to pick them up because the soles, because the mouths are really tiny. And then yeah, oh yeah, also for like what strength of line, I'd go for 18 pound if you look on here. That's 18 pound line on there. I took the shock leader off because I didn't need it, because I was fishing somewhere where I didn't need it. But I'd say if you're fishing the beach after sort of species what fight a lot, and if you're putting really lots of welly in it. I'd say a shock leader of maybe 60 to 80 pound. I wouldn't go any lower than that, because they say for every 10 ounces, for every ounce of lead what you throw, you should have 10 pound of leader. So let's say if you were throwing a 5 ounce weight, you'd need 50 pound minimum shock leader. But I always give it an extra 10 pound just for just for safety reasons, really. And then yeah, sort of when it comes to brands of hooks and stuff like that, I'd say good brands are sort of Camazan, Varavas, Sakuma, Cox and Roll. They're alright. You can go with like some other brands, but the well-known ones are normally quite good. Me personally, I'll hardly use any other hook than a Varavas. I think they're absolutely brilliant. You can go on eBay and type in Varavas fishing hooks, and you can get about, how many can you get? You can get about, I think you can get 30 for about $5, and trust me, they're really brilliant. Camazans are okay, but after a while they rust, but Varavas, they do not rust at all. I haven't had many rust. Other people might have different opinions on them, but I think they're really brilliant, and for a beginner I think they're really good. But as I say, just go with what you can afford, and what I'd say is catch your first fish on what you think is right for you, and after that, that's when, if you like it, I wouldn't buy anything expensive to start with, because if you don't like it, it's a waste. What I'd say is sort of start on a cheaper setup, and if you sort of like it, if you like fishing, upgrade to kit what suits you better. Because let's say if you buy a cheaper kit and the rod isn't as, because on a lot of the cheaper rods, the rods are quite flimsy or stiff. So if you get a rod like that and you think, well, I'm quite enjoying the fishing, I think I'll get a different rod, that's when you buy a newer rod and spend a bit more money on one. But for starters, I wouldn't bother. I'd just see if you like it, have a few sessions and see if you like it, and then after that I'd say yeah, it's pretty good. And if we're talking about what brands of line to put on, like what mainline brands, I'd say something like Berkley, Daiwa, Maxima maybe. I wouldn't go with anything other than them three really. Maybe Ultima F1 is quite good. Ultima, the black Ultima, I can't remember what it's called, but that's quite good. And then yeah, like I said, a lightweight rod is good to start with. Like this one what I showed you at the start of the video. This one, this is quite a good rod. It's quite a good beginner's rod. And you can cast quite away with it. It's 10 foot, so there's no sort of reason why it can't get at least 80 to 100 yards, which is more than enough if you're pier fishing, and normally more than enough if you're beach fishing. Really depends on where you're fishing. If you're fishing in a shallower area, you might need to get a bit further, but really that's sort of all you'd need really, and that's pretty much what you'd need for fishing. And also, if you're using worm baits, you might want to use a bait needle, but they're not really necessary. I would say for starters, maybe buy one and just see how you like it, and then yeah, fingers crossed, this video has helped a few people to get into fishing and catch a few fish. I'm pleased if it has, and that's pretty much it for today guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.